Welcome to another video on the Talking Blues YouTube channel. I've heard some people call it the most busiest week in football. Obviously, this is known as the most busiest, fastest, and just a lot of football in 1 month of December. That's supposed to be the busiest month of football. We have a lot of matches in a week, normally 3, and we got through, 2 of those so far this week, and going on a third at the weekend against West Ham United. So that's why we are here. Peter, Josh, no Alex, for this lineup and score prediction. But Chelsea versus West Ham United coming up. Lineup and score prediction. And Peter, unfortunately for us, we have to wake up early once again at 7:30 for this one. But it's okay because I don't know, for some reason 7:30 on a Saturday is not as bad as 7:30 on a Sunday to me, because I just don't like Sundays, because it's like school like is the next day and that's all I think about all day. But this for some reason Saturdays waking up at 7:30 is easier for me. First of all, how are you, and what's your opinions on this topic on waking up early for the Chelsea game?
Well, first of all, 7:30 wake up in general is just terrible, and so my preference is neither. Just don't have 7:30 games. That's simple. But if I had to pick, I think I understand Sunday, but also it realistically, I don't actually have a preference. I'm thinking about this more because both of them are terrible for me because I love to sleep in on weekends. So neither, but obviously I'm still gonna do it. And hopefully when I do wake up, we play well and we don't play terribly like we did against Watford. But I'm excited. Well, I'm excited for the game because West Ham have obviously been, I don't know if you could even call them better than they would have been expected to, because I think they obviously ended last season very well. They placed pretty well. I think they're in the top 4. They're close to the top 4 this season. They've been playing very well. And I mean, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I agree. They are 4th in the Premier League table with 24 points. And after the effort that we did see from Chelsea yesterday, and you nailed down my first bullet point, Chelsea coming into this match after a 2-1 win against Watford, even though they didn't look like they should have won that game, as I put it here in the bullet point, even though they looked terrific on the pitch. To be frank, it was bad. It was bad. I mean, Alex and I touched on it in the episode. There was player ratings that we went through that were 3 to 6. So coming in as a 3 on most lists, depending on the site you looked at. And he probably won't see the bold take out of that would probably be out of that match, is that so we won't see the pitch for Chelsea ever again in his career. But that could definitely be a bold take. That's why it's a bold take. He could very well see it again, but I don't know. That we'll have to see. Anyway, going into you have something to say about that?
I do. I think the bold take will be proven wrong. I think it's very possible the bold take is proven wrong as soon as this next game against West Ham, because we just have too many injuries. So he's basically our only option unless we slide back Ziyech or Mount back into one of those CDM roles. Otherwise, he's basically the only person we can play there unless we went really wild. And I'll just throw this out there. We moved Christensen to CDM, Aspi back into center back, which he hasn't played for a while, and then Pulisic or Callum Hudson-Odoi into right wing back, which is just completely ruining the system as a whole, and it's so weird. But I mean, otherwise, if Jorginho isn't fit, obviously Chalobah's now injured, so he's not an option. If Jorginho isn't fit, I think Saul is already going to see the field, even though I don't want him to, and I don't think he should. He was awful. He might have to, just because he's the only person we have available.
You make a great point, and I think we could see him sooner than later. That's why I was just saying it was a bold take, right? It's not my take. It's a bold take, okay? Throw it out of my hands. The one injury that I'd like to update you with, and again, Peter, taking my bullet points before I even say them, is the Trevor Chalobah. We saw him injured in the match against Watford. He's another doubt coming into this match, over the weekend. And I think I said in an episode, maybe it was a YouTube video, that it is not a far fetch to say this has been over the last decade, like probably the most injured Chelsea squad that we have seen. Throughout a season, I want to say through this 21-22 campaign so far, not even into 2022 yet. The amount of injuries we've seen, throughout this team is tremendous. So that's something that I get it's the world of football. People get injured. That's completely understandable. But at the rapid rate, to say the least, is something that you don't see very often. And it's something that we hopefully, everyone recovers well. They come back as soon as possible, as soon as they can, and they feel comfortable to. And we get this back into the place that we know as one of the best, if not the best, starting 11 out there. When we see Conte, we see Kovacic, who might not even make the starting 11, but he's obviously known to be in there. When we see Timo Werner, a few other guys in there as well that I'm like blanking on names. I think it was those like main guys that are out right now. Chalobah.
Chilwell too, obviously now.
Oh yes, Ben Chilwell. Sorry, forgot about the sluggish Marcus Alonso that we have playing left wing back right now. All right, so the Premier League table, like I said already, Chelsea in first with 33 points due to them somehow getting a win, and then Man City still behind them after they got a win at 32, and then in third place Liverpool 31, fourth place West Ham a few points behind those top three spots at 24 points. Arsenal right behind them, who's in a match right now, I want to say, and they have 23 points. So it depends what happens in their match. We're recording this, obviously, if you couldn't tell, during the Arsenal match, although I think it will be released Friday morning for us here in the US. So continuing on that, on Google here, the win probability, Chelsea 53%, a draw 26%, and West Ham United a 21% victory for them. That's what it says here. So let's go to lineups. 3-4-2-1. I'll start Mendy in net. It's not surprising. He came up with a few key saves when we couldn't defend for our lives, on Wednesday. So give credit to him for that. The back three is something we've seen a lot of the time, and it does not include Trevor Chalobah, and that is going to be Christensen. With the whole verbal agreement, still seeking a contract, but he played against Watford, so I assume the same here. Thiago Silva, a rock solid, defender, as well as this other rock solid defender in Rudiger. That another player seeking a contract. So those three are in my back line, and I guess I'll let Peter. You can go to your midfield once you're done with your back three and goalkeeper.
I have the same one. Though I did mention how we could go extra weird. Tuchel could decide to do some crazy things. I don't think that'll happen because there's just no chance that happens. So Mendy in net, Christensen, Rudiger, Silva, midfield. I think Aspie will play right wing back, and unfortunately Alonso will need to play left wing back. Maybe Pulisic could go there just because Alonso was also terrible. Tuchel's mentioned how Pulisic can play wing back. I think he played wing back towards the end of the Watford game for a bit at least. So maybe he plays with wing back. It can't be worse than Alonso because Alonso doesn't defend anyway, so Pulisic wouldn't defend either. It's just someone that's faster and wouldn't get blown by every single time. Then in the midfield, I want to say Jorginho just because I don't want to even think of having Saul in there, but I'm going to say Saul just because, like I said, he's our only option. Loftus-Cheek next to him. And I think instead of doing a 3-4-2-1, we'll do kind of what we did towards the second half where we bring we'll bring Mount into the midfield too and have kind of a midfield 3-4 more balance because I think we played much better once we did that. So my midfield is Aspie right wing back, left wing back, Alonso. But I'm just going to say Pulisic because I'm hoping I don't have to see Alonso. And then Saul, Loftus-Cheek, and Mount as a kind of middle three.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on your take with Alonso. Just another player with an awful performance against Watford. He's not been the best. The man jogs all over the place. Even when he looks like he's sprinting, I can say that he looks like he's jogging. Anyway, Aspie, Alonso in my midfield, unfortunately, like I said, Loftus-Cheek, and I do have Jorginho. I'm trying to be on the hopeful side of this thing because I do not want to see Saul out there. I don't. Although same thing with Loftus-Cheek as well. I was actually I remember saying in the recording that we did earlier in our other line of prediction, I was like, I have no problem. I actually like that Loftus-Cheek is playing. I think Tuchel favors him, blah, blah, blah. Then he punches me in the throat with that one. So thanks, Loftus-Cheek. Just trying to stick up for you there. And look what happened. And then I got Mount and Havertz. And then Lukaku. I think Romelu Lukaku, he's been fit for about a week or so fully. We've seen him sub in a few times. I think it's time for him to play as a striker, as a starting striker. It didn't happen against Watford. And I think I predicted that it was going to happen. Oh, I think that's a ring of the doorbell and a dog barking. Basically, but I think, Mount and Havertz. That's who I have starting there. Well, along with Lukaku.
I believe you did have him starting, and I will say that I kind of predicted that perfectly because I said that he was going to play like the last 20, 30 minutes, and I believe that's exactly what happens. So, look at me, genius predictor over here. But I do think he'll come back in as a starter. I think he will start. I think he's looking, he's looked fine. It doesn't look like he's really battling injury. So I think he's fine to start this game. And I think alongside him, I'll put Havertz just because he had a really good game against Watford. Him and Mount were probably two of our best players, if not our best players. They were really the only people doing anything besides our defenders, but even our defending wasn't that good. So Havertz will come back in there along with Lukaku up top because obviously had Mount in the midfield as a midfield three. But I guess you could also count him as kind of like a cam, so kind of forward, but whatever. And I'll go to my score prediction. It barely worked last time, but my 3-0 Chelsea win prediction did work. We did get the win. So as you know, that means the streak continues. 3-0 Chelsea win in this game. Goals, a brace for Lukaku in his return. I don't think that'll happen because West Ham, I don't think it's going to be a blowout like this against West Ham, but I have to do it. So Lukaku brace in his return to the starting lineup and a Mount goal. By the way, I do want to say I apologize for ever predicting an Alonso free kick goal would happen because that was just, I jinxed it probably because after I said that, that was arguably one of his worst performances ever, even though all of his performances were bad. But hopefully I didn't just jinx Lukaku with a brace prediction, but those are my goal predictions.
Completely understandable. Sometimes it happens to the best of us, right? We predict that Marcos Alonso is going to do something good, and then you realize, no, that's not happening. So I get it, Peter. My score prediction is not going to be 3-0. I'll tell you that much. I think we're playing a way stronger side than Watford. Honestly, I feel bad for Watford. I think they deserve the win 100%. Emmanuel Dennis completely sauced the Chelsea defense. Obviously scored a goal, should have scored more than that. So now we're playing a side that's not 17th in the Premier League. We're playing a side that's 4th. I don't think we'll lose. I think it will be a draw, though. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. And I think that's very realistic. I think I'm not aiming too high or too low. I think it's like perfect right in the middle. That's why I picked it. So a 1-1 score prediction. And I don't do the goals, so I'm not even going to try. Subscribe to the Talking Blues podcast YouTube channel. Give us a like. And you can also subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, drop 5 stars on the Apple Podcast. We would really appreciate it. Follow us. Twitter, TikTok, Talking Blues Pod. shipitstudios.com/Talking Blues. That is shipitstudios.com/Talking Blues. And on there, you can find all the links. You can check out our podcast. And we hope on Saturday after the match, I want to say, a recap episode there for this match on YouTube and also everywhere you listen to this podcast. So you can check that out there. And we'll be here again very soon because, like I said, December, very, very busy month of football. And Chelsea has their 6-6 match day. We're going to find out if we finish top of the group against Zenit next Wednesday. So keep listening, keep watching, keep following, whatever you want to do. We thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.